So this is my friends Colin and Carole Oliver again. We're just having a little bit more of a chat about the effects of seeing in our lives. And Colin, you were thinking about how it's affecting you now. And
Yes, Richard. I'd like to use, Richard, two terms that you've come up with that I find very helpful. One is to do with the public self and the other the private self. Now, I'm 65 and I'd like to just mention what it's like for me to be 65 in terms of my public self and my private self. As far as the public self is concerned, being 65, you meet a kind of tararam in that I've just started getting my old age pension.
you meet a what?
I've just started
A
to get my
tararam?
old age
Tararam. I have no idea what that is.
kerfuffle.
A kerfuffle. A kerfuffle, okay.
Yes. And I've started to get my old age pension. I'm called a senior citizen.
Right.
My doctor says to me, I'd like you to come in to have some tests on your prostate and your heart and your liver and how you are generally, for which I'm very grateful actually. And then I have a bus pass, and this entitles me to travel for free on local buses. Now all of this is going on out there for my public self. But what's it like closer to? What's it like for my private self? And the story is a bit different in that when I come closer to, well, I have feelings of being on some days quite elderly and on other days quite youthful. And as far as being 65 is concerned, Richard, I just can't get a handle on it. It's a very nebulous thing. At the weekend, I was talking to my mother and discovered that from her point of view, it's very similar. She was talking about a dress and how she wasn't going to wear that dress because it made her look 90. Now, my mother is 92.
All right.
She realised what she'd said.
Yeah.
And we were talking with a friend a while ago who was in her 80s, and she said she felt that she was about 21. So when you come closer to, it becomes much more blurred and a bit nebulous. You can't get hold of an age. And of course there's a very good reason for this, because when you come right home into this clarity here, well, there is no age here. No wonder you can't feel in your most private self any particular age. And of course, actually, I haven't been born. I haven't even been born here, Richard. This is how it is.
Yes. So how does this affect both of you, your view of dying and death?
Yeah. My initial response to that is, Richard, that the best thing that I can do is to come to a kind of dying every moment here. Because dying to this small, limited, squeezed in, bottled up self, dying to that means that I come to this unborn and I come to this spaciousness which is open to the world. So it's a question here and now, isn't it? In this moment now, of finding what it's like. I was reading yesterday also about a couple of Native American tribes who had particular respect for older people. And one tribe was in Montana, another in California, and I guess there's a fairly general thing in that particular culture of having great respect for old age, with the sense that with old age and life experience, there is a strong possibility of gathering some wisdom along the way. And there was a phrase that was used here that I found quite intriguing, because it said that the wisdom actually comes from an obedience to awareness. Isn't that interesting? I'm still kind of
Taking it
trying
in.
to take this in, mulling it over. An obedience to awareness, and that's where wisdom is.
Yes, that's interesting, because I was thinking about how I have grown to trust seeing over the years, and how the first few years there was not complete trust. You know, I would think, well, I know best. My will, you know, my personhood, my third person, that they'll know what to do. I'll know best. And often it didn't work out. So that the trust, see what happens, the trust grew and grew. And along with that, a deepening awareness, so that when difficulties arise, when reactions to certain circumstances come up, and you realise they come from this closed-in, small, sometimes mean-spirited self, I became immediately more quickly aware of it, and realising that this is not the way to go. The way, you know, that I wasn't being in the moment. I wasn't being aware at that time. It was the old sort of habit patterns of self-centeredness and so on. So that grows too, so that you don't get caught out so often by inappropriate or perhaps selfish or self-centered
What does
reactions.
trusting the source mean to you both then?
I think what Carol's been talking about there is this obedience to awareness that I was just mentioning. It's interesting, isn't it? It's a kind of submission, really, isn't it? Kind
And
of
when you say
letting
submission,
go.
submission or obedience to awareness, to the present moment?
Yes, to what comes out of it, really. Yeah.
To the truth, I would say, trusting in the truth, the self-evident truth that all our friends who share this with us, and people who are not yet aware that they are living from this absolute clarity, that we all share the experience of being like this, so that and it's true. It really goes back to what Douglas first said to you. Let's be honest with ourselves about who we really are. So the fact that it's true means that that's what you're trusting in, trusting actually in the truth and not illusion, and not the person that other people said you were.
And this is fresh every day for you?
Can't be anything else, can it? This is a bit of a miracle, really. You wake up to it every day, and it's only here, only now. Yeah.
Yes, you can't remember what it's like, because it's an experience. It's experiential.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.